Hi, and welcome back to this free-for-all Friday edition of Focal Point on AFR Talk. Jonah Goldberg's got a good column, National Review Online today. Celebrate gay marriage or else. That's the title of his piece. And again, he's talking about the work of the gay Gestapo clamping down on any Christian businessman who would run his business according to Christian principles. I saw another headline on a column by David Harsanyi at The Federalist: coexist, period, or else, period. Now, coexist, that implies some choice. We're going to all make an agreement to get along. We're going to tolerate each other. We've got differences of religious conviction. We're going to respect each other's right to have differences. We're not going to vilify or demonize somebody who looks at life differently than we do. We're going to all get along. We are going to coexist. And the gay lobby is not content with that. It's coexist or else. You either embrace, support, promote gay marriage, or we are going to land on you like a falling safe. Now, one quick thing before we go back to the phones, 888-589-8840. We've been talking about the fact that President Obama is in continuing trouble. His support numbers are falling, plummeting like a rock, and he's getting in increasing trouble with his own base. And I just misplaced that story that I had. Got to be in here somewhere. It's on President Obama's judicial nominees. Yeah, here we go. We saw yesterday that 59% of the American people are disappointed. That was their word with President Obama's presidency. 40% of independents are very disappointed, and 25% of Democrats are likewise disappointed, at least some level of disappointment with President Obama. And what Donald Lambro points out in the Washington Times this morning is that an increasing number of embattled Democrats on Capitol Hill are no longer embracing Obamacare. You know, we saw Mary Landrieu. She flew down to Louisiana on Air Force One with President Obama. She didn't want to be seen anywhere near him at a campaign stop. And Allison Grimes, running against Mitch McConnell in Kentucky, she doesn't want Obama anywhere in her state because of Obamacare. So you got columnists like the Washington Post columnist Fred Hyatt, quote, "What change does Obama believe in?" Liberal columnist E.J. Dion from the Washington Post, "The real issue isn't that Obama is trying to do too much. It's that he needs to think bigger, and he hasn't really tried. He didn't really try to bring about significant change." Now you've even got blacks. Remember, we saw the Coalition of African-American Pastors yesterday saying that Eric Holder ought to be impeached. President Obama is one of the most immoral presidents we have ever had. President Obama has done more harm to this country than any other president in my lifetime. These are black pastors saying this. And now you've got some black congressmen that are livid over President Obama's nominees to judicial appointments, 2 nominees from Georgia. And President Obama made an agreement with the Republicans. Look, if you allow a stalled nominee to the federal appeal court to go through, you give me that nominee, I will let you pick 2 from Georgia to serve in the federal judiciary. Now, the 2 are Michael Boggs, who is a Georgia Court of Appeals judge, and Mark Cohen, who is a former Democratic state official. He's a Democrat. He's in the Democratic Party, and he's drawn the ire of these black congressmen. And these are the ones that the Republicans have put forward for 2 vacancies in the Northern District of Georgia. Now, Mr. Boggs and Mr. Cohen are getting a lot of blowback from lawmakers. Cohen successfully defended a voter ID law in Georgia, and Mr. Boggs sponsored pro-life legislation as a Democrat. He sponsored it, pro-life legislation, as a Democrat between 2000 and 2004. So some of the black congressmen on Capitol Hill are absolutely furious with President Obama. Here is Congressman, where is his name? I forgot. Oh, yeah, David Scott. Here's Congressman David Scott, Democrat from Georgia, talking to The Hill about what President Obama is doing here.
I think they've been very dishonest in how they've been handling this.
Okay.
I'm a member of Congress. I represent Georgia. And we have been disrespected in this. President Obama will be gone in 29 months. There'll be a new president elected. But these individuals that he's putting on the court will be there for life. Why in the world would the President of the United States, he should have...
That sees up on us there, Rob? Okay, will we be able to grab clip 2, or are we kind of on hold for a bit? So anyway, okay, let's grab clip number 2. We had our first clip there, kind of sees up technical difficulties. And again, here's a black congressman, and you heard, President Obama is disrespecting us. What he's doing here by nominating these 2 white bread guys, one of whom sponsored pro-life legislation, another of whom successfully defended a voter ID law. And for President Obama, even though he's just fulfilling a promise to put these forward, shows disrespect for the people of his own race. Here's clip number 2.
We tried to talk to the president about it. We called over there. Not only myself, but our entire Democratic delegation from Georgia. The only time I went to the White House was in that early November, I believe, and it was there that they wanted to tell us that they put this person, they wanted to nominate this person, Michael Boggs, with the racial history and hatred of that Confederate battle flag as a nomination. They had put that. And they wanted to put the photo ID, voter suppression guy, Mark Cohen, on there. I raised with them at that meeting. I said, how dare you? And then to such disrespect to show to our people in Georgia, not to have their Georgia representatives.
So there he is, climbing all over President Obama for showing disrespect to people of his own race. We tried to talk to him. He wouldn't listen. He's supporting people that have some kind of racial history, and of course they do not. That's fabricated, completely manufactured, and all that involved in voter suppression. Voter ID is not voter suppression. In fact, a greater percentage of minorities support voter identification, 83% as compared to whites. 83% of blacks, they want voter ID for one reason. They want their votes to count. They don't want their votes to be lost or to be offset because somebody else is cheating. They understand how important the franchise is. They understand it took a civil war and an amendment to the Constitution to make sure they had the right to vote. So 83% of blacks, they want voter ID. That's more than whites. 82% of whites want it, 83% of blacks. So there's nothing racial about that. And in fact, where voter ID laws have gone into place, voter turnout has actually gone up. So anyway, these are entirely manufactured charges, mythical charges. But here's the point, is to look at how rapidly President Obama is losing friends. He is running out of friends in a big, fat hurry on Capitol Hill. Let's grab a phone call. Let's go to Dwight in St. Petersburg, Florida. Dwight, welcome. What's on your mind?
This Dwight?
Yes, Dwight, go right ahead. You're on with Brian Fisher.
Brian Fisher, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
I tried this Monday, but my prepaid phone dropped the call. Anyway, we have, you heard about Congressman Bill Young dying?
Who died?
Congressman Bill Young in Pinellas County,
yes,
Florida,
yeah. So it opened up a seat there in Florida, yes.
Yes. Okay, we have Ali Sink, a left-wing Democrat, going up against David Jolly, a conservative Tea Party. And we need prayer because that Democrat's trying to take a Republican seat. Now, what I was concerned about is one of the ads underneath it says, paid for by the House Majority Pact, which didn't make sense to me what the House Majority Pact was. And, of course, one of the ads against Jolly was he's going to overturn Roe versus Wade and ban all abortions. Of course, I'm saying yay. And I just got some ads, some letter-sized card ads in my mail showing him as a Frankenstein and as an alien attacking Washington, which is kind of cute.
Wow. Well, that shows you.
I could actually scan it and fax it to you or whatever. But anyway, that's just actually. But we need prayer here because that seat's open. The elections are going like right now, this month.
Well, and we want to encourage people. And that the House Majority PAC. It sounds like it ought to be a Republican PAC because of the title of it, the House Majority PAC, Dwight. But remember, anybody can name their PAC anything they want, and the House Majority PAC is devoted. Here's what it says. This is what their own website says. The House Majority PAC is focused on holding Republicans accountable and helping Democrats win seats in the House. So apparently they're hoping that people will be confused and think that if it's a House Majority PAC, it must be run by the Republicans and they're attacking their own guy. It's not. It's a Democrat PAC. And I just want to remind our listeners, go to our website, afaaction.net, afaaction.net. You know, Dwight's saying, look, there's a primary coming up, an election coming up in Florida. This is important because it's a seat that's been held by a conservative or moderately conservative guy, now an open seat being contested severely by the Democrats. So it's incumbent that you go to the website and find out which of the candidates running on that race most closely resemble or are going to represent your values. afaaction.net. Go there. Use the information that you find. All right, Dwight, listen, I appreciate that very much. Let's go to Phil in Richmond, Virginia. Phil, welcome. What's on your mind?
Yeah, all these conversations, Ryan, that there have been on the Baker and everybody on whether or not they can work on, wait on and take care of homosexuals. I thought in our free enterprise economy, you had the right to wait on anybody or refuse to wait on anybody that you so chose.
Well, and he had all these signs, and this is a constitutional right. Remember, and a lot of restaurants still have them. You walk into a restaurant, you'll see a sign on the door, we reserve the right to refuse service to anybody.
That's right.
And other restaurants have a sign on the door that says no shirt, no shoes, no service. We're going to turn you away. So this is freedom of association, which is guaranteed by the First Amendment. In other words, if you peaceably assemble, in other words, your purpose for coming together is peaceful, you don't represent any threat to public safety, then the government has no business telling you who you get to associate with.
That's right. And so if there were only one bakery in town, I can see why it might be a problem. But if they can get a cake from 6 sources, what difference does it make if one of them says, no, we're not we can't serve you, or we choose not to? I mean, that we should have that right in this country.
Well, absolutely, Phil, and that's what this lesbian activist, Tammy Bruce, is saying. Look, this is about religious liberty, and there's nothing remotely connected to equality in trying to force somebody to violate a sacrament of his faith. Where's the equality in that? That's just outright bigotry and jackbooted tyranny, and it's a form of slavery. And you're right, Phil, and in every one of these cases where these homosexual couples have gone to vendors, they have gotten somebody else to photograph, bake the cake, do the flowers. They've been able to get what they want. Focal Point, AFR Talk.